Financial Fashion Network is a platform we have created to host events and build community by creating content that promote personal development, financial awareness, and mental health. And it's our main goal to be a motivating force to everyone in the world. Now, if you want to support our brand, you can go to www.fnfstore.com and you can find our apparel and you can, support the brand. Take a look at our hoodies, take a look at our joggers. It's getting ready to get cold. So if you see something you like, you can actually get 10% off your first order by using discount code FNF10. Thank you. You are now tuned in to We Invest Different Podcast, where we have high-level conversations. I'm Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm Victor Thomas II.
Let's tap in. On conversation number 52, we talked about our book release for our mental health movement, and we also discussed trauma in the classrooms and how it affected our want to learn outside of school. Tap in. Thank you for tuning in to another conversation of We Invest Different Podcast. I'm co-host Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm your other co-host, Victor Thomas II.
And we're blessed to be back. We give honor to God for us being back on episode conversation number 52.
Yes, sir.
I felt the need to say that out loud because it does something to the energy. When you show gratitude, to the Most High God, for this opportunity. But How you doing, King Victor?
Doing good, man. That's about all I can say. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm happy, bro. Like, I'm happy, so I'm feeling well. My body feels well. The week went well. So, man, everything is good. Everything is good. Lately, man, I ain't really have nothing specific that I wanted to talk about, but for the sake of like how things going on in life, I mean, we kind of just start there. Lately, I just been really wanting to roll out this book and really help people. So that's really like the vibe I've been on, bro. So like with this book that's going to be released tomorrow or today when people hear the podcast, like my whole objective is that I get real intimate with the people and be a real assistance when it comes to facilitating, their mental health. Because like when I got out of college and I started figuring out that I had mental health issues, I didn't have nobody there to facilitate me. All I had was YouTube. All I had was YouTube videos and my notebook, trying to understand myself, trying to write down notes, educating myself. And that did help me a whole lot. But my journey of healing, it started to just be more about research, more so than seeing a therapist. And so that's why I wanted to write a book, because I found out that you can literally heal yourself with awareness and consciousness. Because when you learn yourself right, because they got something in mental health called triggers. Triggers is a way for you to figure out that something is there. So that's how you start growing your awareness and figuring out like, oh man, like every time this happens. So you really just piecing together information about yourself. And that's really all therapy is. You talking and you communicating with a therapist, and only thing she's doing is feeding everything back to you after she listens. She's kind of, he or she is kind of just evaluating you. And they are your facilitator. So with that being said, the way I'm writing this book, King Victor, is that I'm going to actually be on the process with them. By the time they hear this, the book will already be released. And like I said, it's not going to be a regular release. I actually want to help people. So it's not going to be released to the general public just for anybody to just come and read. But I really wanted to be intimate with each person that purchased the book they're going to get 4 coaching calls from me, and we're going to take them through a process of knowing self. And that process is called the DISC assessment. And the DISC assessment is a test that you take. It's a personality test that you take. It's very detailed, and it breaks down things about yourself for you to understand yourself and the things like your strengths and your weaknesses. So it's like a whole self-realization thing that each person will have to go through so we can make sure that the routine that we building is effective for their particular personality. And I think that's really dope. And
Yeah, that sound real intriguing, bro. For real.
so yeah, bro, that shit I really think is really, I really want to do this, bro, and that's why I'm doing it, because it's not even for money. It's really for help. Like, I know that money is going to come, but my main thing is that each person that I help actually get help. You know what I'm saying? They actually come out of the process of having an effective routine. Because like I said, you're gonna get 4 coaching calls, which is 1 a week. So this process is gonna run as 30 days. So based off of the principles in the book, we're gonna build a routine specifically for you based off of your personality. And we want to incorporate that, and we want to make sure I'm just there as a coach to make sure you stand, how's this week going? I'm gonna evaluate you through the first 30 days for you to, kind of get a consistency going, so that the second 30 days you'll be able to have a routine enough to where you can do it on your own. But the main point is that we get a routine that's effective for your particular personality.
Yeah, I like that. I like how you implementing a routine and not just giving people facts. Cause I know a lot of books, they kind of be like, this is what this is, and that is what this is, and they pretty much just identifying a problem. But I love how you're being solution driven with that routine. Man, that's powerful, bro. For real.
And I got a question for you, bro. Like, oh man, yeah, this is gonna be good for this conversation that we're having. I know we're not gonna be on long, but it's gonna segue into something real nicely. But how many books do you have in your files, bro, that you haven't read yet?
Bro, I can't even tell you, bro. I'm talking about hundreds, bro. I got a whole big old file of books.
You see what I'm saying? See, that's what I don't want this book to become. I don't want this book that's why I'm not letting it be available for the general public. It's going to only be available to those who actually want to go through the process, because I don't want this book. Like, I'm not just writing this book, like I said, just to say, oh, I wrote a book and just be piped up about that. Like, no, I really want to say I wrote a book that helps people, not just a book that you can just buy and download. So I really want to make sure like this book does what it's supposed to do, because I feel like we buy off of emotion a lot of time. Like, they could just be buying this book to support me, and I'm gonna have a donation link for them to do that. Like, if you want to support, you can support. But if you want this book, you gotta go, like, I'm really want to help. So you gotta go through this process. You can't buy the book without the process. Like, because the process comes with the book. So that's why, bro. Like, I got books even myself that's in my file that I haven't read yet. And I really just don't want that to be the case. I really want these books to actually do something. And two, the reason why I added the coaching calls to it is because just because you read a book don't mean you know how to implement the book.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I actually want to help you work into a schedule, help you work into a routine that's conducive for you and how your life is set up right now. It's very important. So leading on to like the next part of the conversation, because this shit is crazy. I was thinking about this earlier, right? I want to get your opinion on it. Well, first of all, did your overall experience of like going to school, right? Was it a good experience or a bad experience?
Uh, it was overall, good. I ain't gonna say it was bad. I went to school more so for the social part. That was good. But I couldn't stand the structure of like doing homework and all that stuff. I ain't like that. Going to class, I ain't like none of that. But outside of that, it was cool, man.
So I'm speaking about like high school, all the like the school, your whole school career, period. I ain't talking about just college. You talking about school, period, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about school, period. Yeah.
Okay, man, I feel the exact same way. I'm glad you said that. Like, I really don't have good experience with school, bro. Like, as I look back on my life in school, I just don't feel like I got good memories. I'm not even gonna lie. Besides, like, cracking jokes, and like that's probably like my highlight, like going outside and cracking jokes. So it's like it's not really that much like memories that you can just be like, oh man, I love school. So the reason why I asked that question, bro, is because I came upon an observation. I was observing myself, but I also felt like this could maybe be a big issue in today's society, bro. I really feel like trauma comes in the classroom.
Mm.
So think about this, right? A lot of the times you may ask some people that's our age. A lot of us, we haven't read since we graduated high school or graduated college. Now I found that to be kind of odd, right? Because if you in school for that long, you think you building a habit. You should be building a habit, right?
You
But
would think.
you would think. But after you get out of school, you don't want shit to do with it. It's because we have certain memories attached to our experiences that causes us to feel a certain way about learning. So that's why sometimes you ask people like, man, when the last time you read a book? Like, bro, I ain't read a book since my 12th grade year. And that's real life, bro. People who haven't read books since they graduated. So I think that's the issue. Like a lot of us got trauma connected to learning. And the memories that we have to learning is always like in a school setting. Some of us have, uh, some of our memories are connected to the school setting. And in the school setting, it's a lot of trauma connected there. Not being smart enough, being bullied, not having clothes to wear. Like it's so many other factors that has to do with going to school besides learning. But because you're going through all of this stuff while trying to learn, it affects your want to educate your own self. Cause bro, like due to statistics, over 80% of the population, they are not self-starters. They are not self-educators. They are not critical thinkers. So that only leaves about 15 to 20% of people left who are willing to inform and educate their own self outside of school. So because of that, we already like majority of people are already not gonna want to learn, bro, outside of school, is what I'm saying. So it's kind of like the numbers is dwindling of people that are self-educators because we got trauma connected to learning. So tell me what you feel about that. Like, do you feel like it's some truth in that? Because I know for me, being transparent, that's literally like why I really hate school. If I wasn't a self-starter, if I wasn't into like the 20% of people who are self-starters, like I wouldn't want to read anything. I wouldn't want to go to school. I wouldn't want to inform myself. So what you think about that?
I can definitely see how that could be the case, dealing with traumatic experiences in school and people kind of like associating the two with learning. But I know from my viewpoint, I think one thing that I struggle with is that learning was never made to be that fun. Like it was always looked at as something that you got to do this, but it was never presented as something engaging. Like even to the books that we had to read in school, like they were boring as fuck, bro. Like they ain't had nothing to do with my life. I couldn't relate to it. Like why the fuck is we reading Shakespeare? That shit ain't speaking nothing to me, bro. And I think that's what kind of had me turned off on reading, because you know what I mean. We was reading stuff that I couldn't draw nothing from. It was like a task, and it wasn't made fun. And then even the discussion, like even the discussions we would have, it's like we didn't even try to flip it into a way to where we could relate. It was always what does this say? Well, like you just read this, and I give me a summary on what you just read, but no real like application of how I can pull something from this that I just read. It was hardly ever any of that. So for me, I think that was my main thing for me not wanting to read at one point because it wasn't nothing that has ever been cool to me. I never saw value in it.
Wow. That's real pivotal, bro, because we never get asked what our interests are outside of we never get asked what our interest is until it has to do with the system that was already set up for us, like going to college, higher, like if it's not set up in the system already set up for you, then they not really trying to hear it. Because it's like if once you tell them what you want to be when you grow up or anything like that, if they don't really see that in your future, they gonna tell you. They gonna say, well, let's be more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna tell you, well, let's what you think about being a lawyer. They literally strip you from your imagination and they give you what they really want you to learn. And I think that's the big problem. Like we'll never know what else is out there to learn because we always taking what's given to us to learn. And I think
Right.
that's also a problem when it comes to us and our want to learn. Like it really destroys our desire to learn because we don't really feel like it's more out there to learn because we've been fed that this is all I was supposed to know. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
go to high school and you graduate, or when you go to college and you graduate, it's almost as if you don't supposed to learn anything anymore. He's like, well, I don't learn what I'm supposed to learn in life. I'm good.
Mm-hmm. They don't really push the narrative of it being a life journey thing, man. Like a long life thing. And I
Right.
think that right there is traumatic in itself. When you really think about it, somebody limiting your mind like that, or your mind being limited like that's traumatic. Because it can definitely, and it has impacted a lot of us. Because just imagine if like we was excited about reading all throughout life, bro. Just
Right.
imagine like people that would be excited about reading their whole life. Like just imagine how much more powerful of a people we would be. But you know that ain't what they want. But that's a whole different discussion. You feel
It really is, bro.
me? That
It
ain't what they
really
want.
is.
They want us to get us right to this point. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Go do this now.
And then too, bro, like I really been thinking about before we segue into the next segment, I was thinking about how the imagination, right? I made a lot of content about the imagination. I talked about it on MH10 the other day. Um, when we kids, right? Like you get sent to elementary school at a really young age. And like the ages from 0 to 7 are very, very important.
Or
So those are very foundational times of development for your child. So like when you teaching them what they should and shouldn't know and what they should and shouldn't do, you got to be very careful because they going they going to go throughout their whole life thinking that way. So I think that when you giving the children things to learn at such a young age, I think it should be certain shit that should be instilled in them first before you indoctrinate them with the system. I don't even think they should be indoctrinated with the system because it's like for what? You stripping them from their imagination to indoctrinate them to go into the system. So why would I like consciously give my child to y'all to only teach them what the system want them to know, not even what I want them to know. Like fuck the parents. The parents not even in the picture, bro. Like what do the parents want the children to learn? It don't matter because it's always been sent. You get sent to the public school system and they get taught there. And what the parents want don't even really matter because they not even really conscious about it. They thinking that it's normal as well to let the system raise our children. Like it's the norm.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then even piggybacking on top of that, bro. Like, what do the child want to learn?
Right.
What about that part?
Dang,
Because there's a
that's
lot
really
of
the
stuff
most
I said.
important part.
I mean, you see what I'm saying? Because
Yes,
there's a lot of shit that I learned. You know how it go. You soak in this information just to spit it back on the test. But that don't mean I wanted to learn that. Like a lot of that stuff, I forget it once I leave out the classroom from taking that test.
exactly. Because it's not even relevant to your life. You will
Right.
never have to use the War of 1812. I know I say that a lot. You will never have to. You would never have to know that shit. Like, why do I need to know the War of 1812?
Right. And it's like
You
all
have to.
these things we don't even, it's this kind of stuff is so intertwined into the system as a standard that we don't even realize that these things can be trauma as well, bro.
Right.
Like it impacts our hunger for knowledge. Cause our early introduction to knowledge ain't have no interest with us. Like we wasn't interested in it. It went a lot. That's why I can't stand history, bro. Like
Man.
history that's taught at school, bro. That junk really get on my nerves, man. Cause it's like, yeah, we gonna talk about all these white people, which I understand because history is history, but it's like, yeah, when we talk about the black people, we gonna talk about them being slaves.
Hey, that's the only history.
You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
then we
bro.
gonna talk about a few black folks that made some shit. And we ain't gonna get deep into it.
Man, I was just about to, boy, I will. Cause I was just finna say, all of the black folks that they actually put in the book for inventing something that was castrated and they was like traumatized by the white families that adopted them.
Man, did you see this video with George Washington Carver before?
I ain't see it, but that's what happened to him also.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. I heard him talk one time. And he sound like he got castrated, bro.
Yeah, he got castrated, bro. It's history. It was stated that he got castrated because he was raised by he was adopted by a white family.
Mm-hmm.
And dang, when they castrate black people, it's because they don't want them to have sex with their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Mm-hmm.
had a high voice.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. They're not gonna let no melanated man get his flowers without, you know, some form of control.
That's crazy. But yeah, man, just stuff like that they don't want to teach. And like for melanated people, man, that's traumatic. For you to grow up in the system and there's no real highlight on your ancestry as a people, that's traumatic, bro.
It really is. It's kind of like being dropped off in the middle of nowhere.
Real talk. Real talk. And you wonder why like black people in the past, it's changing now. But I remember at one point it was almost like melanated people was, putting white folks on the pedestal. Like I get it, cause hell, you done heard about all their successes, and when it come to your people, it's like ain't shit.
And then all of the stuff that your people supposedly have, it came from them. So I can see the programming of like you thinking that all of the stuff that you need in life comes from them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, brother, we're gonna go to our next segment of what you learn. And like I kind of already gave what I learned because it was like that observation that I made. That observation that I made about, the school trauma. That was it for me because it was just like, man, I observed that. I observed myself on that because it was just like I didn't really. This wasn't a guess. Like I was being like absolutely transparent because I know that was like my experience. I really hated school, and like I would get nervous thinking about school. I hated seeing commercials of back to school commercials. I still
But
hate seeing back to school.
I still hate no commercial to this day, bro. To this day, bro. I
Me
can't
too,
stand
bro.
when August come around they get to showing that shit, man.
Nah, for real. Let's go ahead and indoctrinate. It's time to indoctrinate again.
Real talk.
But yeah, bro. Anything that you noticed, anything that you learned lately?
Yeah, I think I had a reminder this morning when I was walking my dog. Like some days here, we'll get out the door and he be trying to haul ass, you feel me?
Yeah.
And he be moving so fast that he be missing sense. So he'll do this thing where he'll be going real fast and he'll walk about 5 feet, 7 feet, and then got to turn around. Like, oh, I missed something. And then he'll go ahead and sniff what he need to sniff, take a piss, and he'll take off again real fast. And then by 5, 7 more feet, he got to turn back around. So I told him, I said, slow down. Slow down, man. What you going so fast for? And that was just a reminder for me to take my walk, in my journey, in my path. Take my time. Don't rush, because I don't want to have to backtrack. You know what I mean? And have to pick up something that I missed. Do something that I forgot to do.
Right.
So that was the thing that I learned from my dog today. Like, slow down. You ain't gotta rush. Regardless of what society may say, they might, regardless of what we may see on social media, these folk doing this, these folk doing that. Because I know it's easy to get on there and be like, I got to go harder. I got to go harder. And then we think that means going faster and spending more time doing things. But no, sometimes going at a steady pace is what can get us ahead.
Right. That's a good lesson. I'm gonna take that lesson in. Like, I really think that goes with your momentum, because sometimes you can be rushing, like you were just saying. So I agree with that. Yeah, but with that being said, moving on to the financial theme of the month, and like we said, for the month of February, it's all about making the smartest decisions, but slowing down and making those decisions, like making sure it's calculated, not just making quick decisions just because it looked good, but always slowing down and making sure that it's calculated. Mm-hmm. Anything you got left to say, King?
Oh, that's it, Mike.
Man, we were just tapping in for a good, quick conversation, man. I appreciate you for hopping on, King Victor.
Hey, I appreciate you, man.
And it's really closing out year 1 of We Invest Different Podcast.
Turn up.
It's episode 52, man. So I'm looking forward to helping people with this book and looking forward to doing more in 2023. But with that being said, we'll see you guys for episode 53 next week. I'm co-host Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm the other co-host, Victor Thomas II.
And we out.
Peace.
Are you stressed, anxious, or depressed? Well, here is some good news for you. We started a mental health movement called MH10, and we encourage people to pay more attention to their mental health. So do this for us. Take at least 10 minutes per day to take a walk in nature, a jog, run, or just meditation to decrease your stress, because stress is one of the leading causes of chronic physical and mental illnesses in the body. So if you want to join the movement, you can also post on social media, post your 10 minutes by using hashtag MH10 or Mental Health 10 Minutes.